Thanks for hosting me, hashtag #MeCrew. And let's go here. Okay, guys. Yeah, so today I'm doing another vegan dish and I am using tofu. The only reason I'm using tofu really is because I bought this a couple of weeks ago and did end up using it, and I really need to get rid of it. Okay, I've got a pot of oil here that I'm just going to turn up in the meantime. And before I go on any further, just a quick shout out to Lenovo Australia for the laptop I use for my live streaming, which is a Lenovo Yoga no, a Lenovo Y700, which is a gaming laptop, and I use a Yoga Home 500 to monitor my broadcast as well. So thanks very much, guys, and don't forget to tell a friend about my Twitch broadcast. URL is jackiem.live, and my website is jackiem.com.au. Also, a shout out to Rode microphones for the microphones I use for my broadcast. And today I'm using a Sunbeam tabletop pot essentially, and I've got some oil that I'm going to use for deep frying, well, kind of like pseudo deep frying. Like I said, I'm using this tofu. It says here that it says spice bean curd, and literally I think it's just got like 5 spice powder. Let me have a read of what it says. Okay, so yeah, it's got green tea, nigari, salt, sugar. Sounds interesting. Caramel, spices. I don't know what spices they are. Okay, but this recipe, now, usually, I wouldn't say usually, but look, I'm adapting a popular Malaysian recipe for this particular dish, and other adaptations of this use mushroom stems. Okay, so if you want to go with mushroom stems, by all means do that. The mushroom stems are really meant to replicate like frog legs apparently, but Asians, when they eat vegetarian, they don't have any qualms about trying to replicate meat. Okay, so you see a lot of Asian mock meat products on your Asian grocery store shelves and freezer refrigerated sections. They'll say, oh, it's a mock duck, which means it's like tastes like duck or looks like duck, but it's not really, sort of thing. I know some Westerners who are vegan do take issue with this because it seems a bit hypocritical, but you know, I'm not vegan myself, but I do make vegan food for distribution. I used to anyway. Anyway, so what we're going to do with this, ingredients very, very simple. Like I said, this is adapted from a popular Malaysian type of dish, which you know can actually be made with a number of different things. You can make it with prawns, especially, but you can make it with you know, like I said, frog as well, sort of thing. So what it usually requires is butter and curry leaves, which I have. I'm not using butter, I'm just using oil because of the vegan aspect of it. And also it usually requires evaporated milk, and I'm not using evaporated milk, I'm using coconut milk instead. So those are the two main changes. And as far as seasoning, this is a popular, I found this myself, right? And then I subsequently found out that in Malaysia, this is quite popular as well for people who are vegan, trying to basically season their food, right? Instead of just your usual salt and pepper, they use something like mushroom seasoning. This particular brand, I'm not being you know, I'm not representing them in any way. I'm not getting paid to flog them. But this particular brand, this particular of mushroom seasoning seems to work really well with dishes because it's fairly flavor neutral. It doesn't make your food taste mushroomy or nothing like that. I mean, I've tried other types of vegetable stock seasoning, which is essentially what this is, that do change the flavors of your dishes quite a lot, right? Hey, Mister, good to see you again. Hi. Look, anytime you're in Sydney, you're absolutely welcome to be food taster for me, because I seriously sometimes struggle to fit everything in that I cook during these broadcasts. So this is heating up. Now, like I said, this particular recipe, obviously, you know, usually we use seafood, But in this particular case, usually the adaptation, the vegetarian adaptation, uses mushrooms, right? Mushroom stems more specifically because they're more meaty, right? But I had this pack of bean curd, so I'm going to, never tried this before in all honesty, these bean curds anyway. This is what they look like. They're quite firm. I'm going to cut them into strips, right? And I'm going to season them a little bit and drench them in flour and then deep fry them. So if you don't have bean curd or you're not a fan of bean curd, substitute it with something else. Like I said, even eggplants might work, you know. And like I said, mushrooms or whatever you like, really. It's the sauce that makes this dish, okay? And I've made the non-vegetarian version quite a lot, but it'll be interesting to see how it translates without the butter and without the evaporated milk. I sub to your YouTube so I can catch on whatever I miss. Oh, brilliant. Thanks for that. By the way, anyone who doesn't know me, my YouTube channel is just youtube.com/JackieM. Nice and simple, okay? And my long Twitch URL is twitch.tv/JackieMFood, okay? But the short URL is just JackieM.live. www.JackieM.live will get you to my Twitch channel. So here we go. This is what they look like. They look a little bit like a caramelly color. It's quite interesting because usually when I buy tofu, I don't buy them flavored or anything like that. This was in the vegetarian section of my local greengrocer. It's not even an Asian store, so I can only assume that it's flavored, it's seasoned for the benefit of vegetarians, right? So this is it. I'm just going to taste test it a little bit and see if it's okay. It's very, very subtle. What little flavor there is to it, it's very, very subtle. I'm going to chuck some pepper on it. And like I said, don't forget to tell a friend about this channel. It's quite new. I've done live broadcasts for years and years, but I'm very, very new on Twitch. But I broadcast 3 times a week. The schedule is up on my Twitch page. That's a bit of salt that I'm just throwing in here. And mushroom seasoning, like I said. There you go. Just sprinkle a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't say this particular batch of tofu seems quite dense, right? So I don't know how much of that seasoning is going to get absorbed into it. Now I'm just going to drench it in some cornstarch, and that will help absorb some of the moisture before I deep fry it. So just a bit of cornstarch in here. You've been working overtime on cooking mode. Oh yeah, big time, yeah. You know, it's I anticipate a pretty busy schedule. I'm still in the process of negotiating, stuff. I do a lot of different things in my life, but food obviously is the primary focus. But you could be seeing me in other, you could be seeing a lot more of me, but we'll see. Okay, so this is just slightly drenched. Hopefully the oil is hot enough. It looks like it is. I'm just going to turn it up a little bit. And let's go. I find like researching vegan recipes, it's a little bit of a challenge because there are a lot of Asian vegetarians, usually of the Buddhist or Hindu persuasion, but they're not necessarily vegan per se. So basically, you have to hunt down these vegetarian recipes, and then through the process of elimination, further drill them down to vegan, whatever. But also, Buddhist vegetarians, some of them don't eat things like garlic and onion, which to me is a big No, I love onion and garlic. So a lot of these vegetarian recipes I come across don't actually have garlic in them, but then I add them back in, you know, because I love them. Your Twitter feed has been active. You know, in all honesty, I used to be a lot more active on Twitter, but I used to be a lot more interactive on Twitter as well. So if you're wondering where to find me on Twitter, it's just twitter.com/Jackie M Sydney, because Jackie M was already taken. But in all honesty, a lot of my Twitter feeds are just auto shares of like my existing or new recipe posts and that sort of stuff. So, but when I had my restaurant, I used to be a lot more interactive on Twitter. Okay, so this. So when you deep fry anything, usually I tell it's done when they start to kind of like float up to the top, right? But it depends on like what state you want to deep fry them to. If you want them to be completely like dry and whatever, then you fry them till the oil stops bubbling or sizzling, okay? But I don't want that. I want to, you know, I don't want to completely kill this. I'm going to take it out now. And the next step is going to be interesting. Because I've actually changed the technique a little bit for the next step here. Here we go. Okay, so these are all nice and crispy. Okay. But you want them to be still soft, right? Next step, I'm going to get some, let me get another bowl. So I'm going to throw some coconut cream into this bowl and add some rice flour to it, okay? Curly Kitchen, garlic is live, you betcha. Yeah, garlic and onions like peanut butter and juicy good jelly, good combo. I totally agree. I think it's like, you know, certain Buddhist sort of thing. For whatever reason, I don't know. I'm not a Buddhist. So. Okay. I'm a Bible believing Christian. Okay. So I got that. Right. I'm tempted to add a bit of water, but no, I might skip that. Let me think. I'll think about it. But I'm going to add some rice flour. Okay. Now, the original recipe does not require this step, okay? The original recipe basically requires you to just like heat up a bunch of butter, right? And then you add evaporated milk to it and then fry it till it crisps up. I'm actually kind of like short-circuiting this, or short-cutting it in any case, by adding some rice flour just to help it along with the crisping, okay? And I'm going to add some seasoning to it. The mushroom seasoning, like I said. Now, the mushroom seasoning I use basically as the vegetarian version of the chicken powder I seem to love a lot in my cooking, okay? But it's basically like using stock cubes. And this particular version, again, contains MSG, but of course there are other versions out there that don't, if you're you know, if you're concerned about MSG consumption. I'm going to put a little bit of sugar in here. Okay. Here you go. And I might leave the salt out. But let's just mix this up a bit. Okay. So that's all there is. I'm wondering about the water. Yeah, let's add a little bit of water to this. And if you want to spice things up, you can add like maybe a dab of curry powder to it as well. Okay. I got this technique actually from doing fried chicken, Indonesian fried chicken. Because what they do, they call this frying water, okay? And what essentially what it does, if you watch one of my other live broadcasts, I do the fried chicken, and then, sorry, my screen's just gone a bit dark. What I do is like basically you marinate the chicken in all these spices and whatever, and then with the spices, like the marinade, you add like you strain some of it out, and then you add water to it, and you add flour, rice flour to it, and you fry that up into little crisps. Okay, so I'm kind of hoping to replicate that a little bit. Let's throw this in the oil. Okay. See what happens. What's the drink that Noah was drinking? In the picture today, he was drinking durian. Durian smoothie. If you Google durian, D-U-R-I-A-N, is considered in Malaysia considered the king of fruits, but to Westerners they might think that it's really gross and disgusting. But it's very, very pungent. And Anthony Bourdain, if you watch his show, he was famously known for describing it once as like eating it as like, you know, kissing your dead grandmother or something like that. But yeah, Westerners find it quite pungent and repulsive, but it's a bit of an acquired taste. But if you like it, you absolutely love it. This is frying up, and this one now. These crisps, because you want them dry and crispy, you do want to fry them till the oil stops bubbling. Okay, and it's coming close to it now. And nearly there. And I'm gonna get something for that to go into as well. You know, the biggest pain about doing this is all the cleanup I have to do afterwards. All the washing up. Okay, so you want to fry it. I'm going to do another batch after this. You want to fry it till it stops bubbling. And I'm also hoping for it to turn a little bit like nice and golden brown sort of thing. Like I say with this, you know, I'm using tofu only because I've got some left over, but traditionally you use mushroom stems, okay? Tofu is a little bit chewy. But it's not bad. I'm going to get some paper towels just for this to drain out properly. There's a drink that Asian based, I've got the name, I know it has little black balls inside and comes in different flavors. Yeah, they are called bubble tea. It's it's taken like the Asian world by storm. I think it came from Taiwan, if I'm not mistaken. And I didn't grow up with it in Malaysia, but now if you go back to Malaysia, it'll be all over the place. And even here in Sydney, Australia, like they were popping up all over the place. I think the fats died down a little bit now. And in all honesty, I never really kind of got the, it didn't really do much for me, but apparently the young people like it. So this is the rest of, and this is what this looks like. So they're kind of like coconutty. Yeah, very nice. You know, I'd imagine if you actually, instead of putting the savory seasoning in this, right, you put some sugar in it with a little bit of salt. That actually makes for a nice kind of like a snacky thing. The coconut really adds to it. But remember, the original recipe doesn't use coconut. It uses coconut milk. It uses evaporated milk, right? I need people to actually come and taste all this, so you can actually know what I, you know, when I say something tastes good. I don't usually praise my own food. If you ever notice, I struggle with that. I see a lot of broadcasters drink it. Yeah, bubble tea. I don't get it. It's not bad. It's just, yeah, it's just kind of a novelty thing, you know. Try this some more. Yeah, when I was shooting TV shows, because I do some television, they always expect you to taste the food at the end and kind of go like all ecstatic about how good. I really, really struggle with that, because I don't know whether it's the Asian in me or whatever. It's just like, yeah, okay, that tastes right, you know, sort of thing. That's about the extent of like what I can do. When I have to feign like kind of like euphoria or whatever with the food, I really, really struggle with it. And in fact, speaking of durian, there was a show I did actually where the cameras followed me as I walked down the street in Malaysia, and I sat down and tasted some durian, and they filmed me eating it. And I actually love durian. They usually expect, like, you know, if it was a white person or whatever, to kind of like start throwing up and choking on it and whatever, but I love it, you know. And then the director was going like, what does it taste like? I said, oh, well, it tastes like durian. It's hard for me to kind of like find a way to compare it to something else when I grew up eating it, you know. I said, well, I guess it kind of tastes a bit like onion or something like that. And then someone posted like about I don't know, a 1 minute segment from that. And in Indonesia, it got like it's close to 100,000 views on Facebook. I was thinking, it's just durian. I think, yeah, maybe they were expecting something a little bit more exciting, you know, with my reaction, because they kind of like posted, oh, you know, whatever, tasted, you know, Jackie tastes durian in Malaysia, sort of thing. I've eaten durian my whole life. Okay. So okay, so after this, I'm going to transfer into I might pull out my Sunbeam fryer actually for the next step. So these are the crisps, right? I wish there were some vegans nearby I can get to taste this out. Because when I used to supply this range of vegan meals, like the vegans are always super appreciative of like what you can actually do with their food, you know. Okay, so there you go. Crispy bits. Now let's get, should I get the Sunbeam? Yeah, okay, why not? Just put this out of the way. Okay, so this is an electric fryer, hot plate, kind of like, what do you call this? Pan, I guess. So I'm going to turn this on, and in the meantime, the other ingredients I need are the curry leaves, and I'll show you what they look like. So these are curry leaves I bought at my local greengrocer. They weren't cheap. If I were to buy this at like an Asian grocery store, this would have cost me about $1. This here cost me $4.20. Okay, I'm just trying to find out how to pull this apart. I might just pull them out from the bottom. It's all nicely cling wrapped. Okay, there you go. So you can, if you live in Sydney, I know quite a few people who grow these, but you know, I don't grow anything. I just don't have the passion for planting my own herb garden. Seems like a good idea, but yeah. Anyway, so these are the curry leaves, right? And they have a really nice peppery flavor to them. And you can actually use them whole, but what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to actually just pull them off the stem. Okay, pull the leaves off the stem. And I'm using the leaves. You can actually also buy curry leaves dry as well. Okay, so there you go. Ship me some, I'll taste it. Someone needs to invent a way where you can actually ship food, like, you know, you can teleport food. Because I actually do in fact produce a range of curry pastes, but I'm limited in terms of how far I can ship them. This is just a chili, I'm just going to slice them up, right? Slice it up. I mean, apart from all the problems with getting it across like borders and whatever, there's the issue of perishability as well. So it's always a struggle. People say, "Oh, do you sell this, or do you send it, you know, to the US and whatever?" Oh, not at this stage. Maybe Amazon can come to our help one day. So I've got some chili, and I'm going to use some dried garlic. I do have fresh garlic, but I just can't be bothered mincing them. I've got whole fresh garlic, but mincing them is a pain when you only need a little bit. So this is dried garlic, and I've got the pan here. It's heating up quite strongly. I'm just going to turn it down a bit. I'm going to use some oil from here. Like I said, traditionally with this dish, it uses a lot of butter, right? But butter is a no-no for vegans, so I'm using oil. And I'm going to throw these in. Chili and the leaves. So you can actually buy curry leaves dry, but you know, they are really kind of like a very, very poor shadow of the fresh variety. Garlic, okay. And this goes back in the tofu. I'm going to add a little bit more coconut cream to this. I use coconut cream and coconut milk fairly interchangeably. Well, in all honesty, I use coconut cream almost exclusively only because I need less of it, okay? If I want coconut milk, I would just dilute my coconut cream. Okay. So this now smells quite coconutty and quite peppery, right? Because of the curry leaves. And I'm just going to add some salt here. And a little bit more of the mushroom powder. Mushroom seasoning. And about a teaspoon of sugar. Sorry, the chilies just got right back from my throat. I'm going to add a bit of water to this. Okay. It could fit in a carton container, yeah. So this is going. I'm just going to turn it back up a little bit. Now I want to thicken this up, right? So remember the leftover corn flour I had from earlier from drenching the tofu. I'm just going to add some water to it. This is annoying. I changed the power settings on my computer. Earlier, so I'm just trying to stop it from going dim on me. Okay, so this is actually quite starchy already, even without adding the cornstarch. Let me just taste test it a little. You know what? This tastes amazing. I'm not kidding you. But this is quite starchy, and I'm just wondering if it might be redundant adding the cornstarch to this. But let's just throw a little bit in. And I'm going to throw the crisp in. Seriously, if you know any vegans, tell them to follow me, right? At this stage, it might change later, but at this stage, 1 in 3 broadcasts is vegan that I'm doing. And you can bet your bottom dollar nobody does vegan like Jackie M does vegan, even though I'm not a vegan. Okay, let me find something to serve this up in. Bummer. Okay, I've got some lettuce. I'm going to put it on a bed of lettuce. And let's see. This took how long? This took like 10 minutes, 15 minutes? Hang on. There's one thing I need is like I need a sponsor for plates and stuff. Like I said, I used to own a restaurant, and then when I closed it in my infinite wisdom, I sold or gave away all the crockery, and they were beautiful white crockery too, you know. And now every time I want to do some presentation, I'm like, oh damn, I wish I had a white plate for this. I think I'm going to give this to my neighbor. I don't know if Noah will eat it because the tofu is a little bit, like I said, it's not al dente, but it's just a little bit like chewy. But the flavor is fantastic, this thing. Here you go. You should never turn off when plugged in. So Lenovo gave you the laptops, or you bought it with a discount? Lenovo gave me the laptops. I know, right? That's not all they gave me too. Okay. It doesn't look, here we go. Okay. Trust me guys, this tastes absolutely fantastic. So make sure you look out for the recipe, right? And the recipe will be posted at jackiem.com.au. And it should be up by middle of next week, but in the meantime, go to jackiem.com.au, sign up for my newsletter, and you will get like a weekly list of all my new recipes, among other things as well. Every now and then I might throw in a personal email. I really should do more of those, but I'm just a little bit snowed under at the moment with other stuff that's happening. Yeah, let me see what time it is. This is such a short and sweet one. Now I feel bad, but I might try and fit a weekend broadcast as well. This weekend is a little bit flat out because I've got a special invitation events on tomorrow, but I'm thinking of doing a weekend broadcast because I got a feeling that's when, you know, those people are at home and can watch me. But yeah, like I said, get your friends, your vegan friends to tune in, and even your non-vegan friends to tune in. And I will see you at my next broadcast. If not this weekend, then my next one will be on my Monday at same time as now, which would be North American Sunday. Okay, and thanks for joining me. I will see you again soon. Once my internet is sorted out, I will be able to be a little bit more liberal in terms of like doing longer broadcasts. But at the moment, I'm struggling with quota limits, and I'm struggling with a second service that I signed up for that's not working properly. So I'm trying to keep these fairly brief and fairly to the point. Leaving already. What can I have? One, I need an update so badly. My laptop is slow. What you need to do is do live broadcasts, right? Lenovo likes the gaming community at the moment. So if you're a gamer and you do some live broadcasts, they, you know, and you get a bit of traction, they might get in touch. But I've been around the food scene, so it kind of, you know, they knew of me, see, so I'm kind of a big deal. No, I'm kidding. But no, they've known me from my food activities for years now, sort of thing. So they got in touch a couple of years ago. So, you know, I've been using Lenovo products ever since. But yeah, guys, you know, you're thinking of making an impact, you might get contacted by brands about that sort of stuff. So that's a lot of the stuff that I do behind the scenes of it as well. If you've got any questions at all, if you're contemplating doing live broadcasts, if you're contemplating doing the kind of stuff I do, sort of thing, talk to me. I'm happy to share some of my knowledge. You know, like I said, I've been around for years and years. But anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I will see you. My next broadcast officially is my Monday, 12:30 North American, Sunday evening at 9:30 p.m. East Coast. Okay, thanks guys. I'll see you again. Ciao. Your old tech, yeah. Yeah, I've been giving away my old tech, to be honest. But yeah, you gotta live in Australia. You gotta know me.